Welcome to the Future of Brands London, the headline set. No pressure. Yes, my name's Katie Reddin-Clancy. I've just done a very exciting project with Rankin all about Intersex. And here is our star, River Gallo, Intersex actor and filmmaker. What is Intersex? Good question. I certainly asked that when my best friend came out as transgender and introduced me to the spectrum of gender. Intersex people are born with variations in their biology and their genetics, so they are born in between the male and female binary. 1.7% of people are born intersex, the same amount of people who are born with red hair, but intersex people are fighting serious discrimination. So I'm very excited to be here talking about the power of creative ideas driving brand growth. With the iconic photographer, publisher, film director, cultural provocateur / legend, Rankin.
Thank you. The world is literally turned upside down. We're looking at the world through a lens of yesterday that actually doesn't really work for today's world. So for me, what I find really fascinating, especially about the digital revolution, is as people are becoming more and more like brands every day, like they're becoming homogenous, they're becoming two-dimensional, they're becoming filtered. What brands have to do is they have to become more like people. And if brands can stop talking to the consumer and start talking to the audience, they'll connect with the audience and they'll be able to make those connections impactful. So many people that actually are using social media don't know how to use social media. They don't know how it works. They don't know what it means. They don't know the difference between Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you're not using these things and you don't know how they work, how can you commission them properly? How do you know what effect they're having? How do you know what the data actually means on it? It's like it's not 5 years ago. It's totally changed. So you have to turn upside down as well. And if you don't turn upside down, you're not going to be able to connect with audiences. And it's really that simple. So the way to do that is to editorialize your content, to really start thinking about yourself as a media owner. You know, if some brands have loads more followers on social than the magazines do. So use your platforms and use your social media as a way of connecting with your audience. So when people come to me for these types of projects, I'm like, yeah, this is brilliant. We should all be doing stuff like this.
Can you give us a glimpse of how the creative process works with you guys?
In our office, what we try and do is have like a level playing field. So that means that, I mean, it sounds naff, but it means that when a brand comes to us, what we don't want to do is try and be excluding in any way.
You talk about telling the truth, and then you did a cool front cover here. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Most brands are scared of Facebook because it's so integral to their sales. You know, now it's so integral. But actually, they just stepped over the line, you know, and Carol called them out on it. And instead of using the drum to promote myself, I thought, let's promote something that is actually really interesting, which is the truth. It's because the truth, and if you use the truth and honesty within what you're doing at a brand level, you will have effect, and it will be long-term effect because your sales will go up. They just will. We're sick of what being sold by politicians. We're sick of what we're being sold by social media companies, and you need to flip it.
Is there a job that's really shaped your career and shaped brand Rankin?
I don't think so, but I mean, the one thing that's interesting is when I photographed the Queen, because I'm from Scotland, so we have a natural distrust for royalty. So I was a little bit unsure about whether I should do it, but I did it, and you know, I'd been shooting for, I think, 14 years up to that. After that, if anybody ever questioned whether I could take their picture, I just said, well, I've photographed the Queen. So, you know, Madonna, the Queen. Yeah.
creative ideas aren't just about visual work, are they? I mean, there's
No.
creative processes, strategy, thinking. Do you still think there's a place for creative agencies?
Yeah, but I think the agencies have to flip. You know, the model's fucked. It doesn't work. It's the construct, the way that we all interact with each other. It doesn't work. You can't have these egos and these massive teams, you know, of account people making this work. It doesn't work. And also, sorry, but when you used to make 3 things a year or 4 things a year, it was fine. Now you have to make 4 things a week, maybe 4 things a day. And if you want to make 4 things a day, you've got to change the way you work.
When was the last time you told the truth?
About 5 minutes ago. I mean, I've done so many really great, I did an amazing Standard Life campaign on endometriosis. So that was one of the last times I've told the truth in a campaign, and it really is effective.
And we also saw this on your gram.
Yeah, I just think you need to challenge this stuff. It's like these influencers that have been running your lives for the last, 2 years. It's like they're having a laugh. Most of them are lying to you, and there's no code of ethics at all in anything to do with it. And we're not even trying to put a code of ethics into it. We're all just running scared. And it's like, I don't buy followers. I think it's disgusting to buy followers. I think also having enough money to be able to go on holiday, fucking pay for it. Why do you get it for free and everybody else doesn't? I could get it for free, but I think that's outrageous to do that. So, I think integrity is something that we've lost. We've lost the egos, or some of the egos, and the kind of old way of working, but we've also lost a lot of the integrity that goes with it. And what I'm trying to say is put some integrity back into the game. And Facebook aren't giving it to you guys. They're not telling you this stuff. They're not outing them because it takes their share price down. So, what I'm saying is put some integrity back into it, and hopefully we can change the industry a little bit, because that's what I'm here to do. And that's why we have the expression, we want to change the world. Yeah, it might only be the world of marketing, but hopefully that'll have an influence outside of what we're doing.
Anyone can be a creator now, can't they? Even if you have a glamergency.
This is
Hi,
just
it's
for
me
fun.
again. I'm in North London in my studio. I'm doing a beauty shoot. Oh, hold on. It's the glamour phone. Glamergency. What service do you require? Lipstick smudge? I'll be right there.
That's me on TikTok, right? So I'm a 53-year-old on TikTok. It feels weird. And my wife keeps asking me why I keep taking selfies. And I'm like, I'm not taking selfies, I'm exploring the medium. But what I'm saying is, I'm actually exploring the medium. I'm not just talking about it.
So you said that your purpose was to change the world. So
Yeah.
when you first started in your career, was this always your purpose? Has this evolved over time?
I didn't think I could change the world when I first started. And, I got into photography because I couldn't draw. And I loved being in a creative environment, but I didn't know what else to do. And then when I picked up a camera, it was like, oh yeah, I know what to do. And then just literally from starting to take pictures, I realised that I could have a conversation with the audience. So right from the beginning, I've always had these things that I've made that have been trying to create a conversation, or maybe just push boundaries, and that's just been very natural for me. It's not something that I've come to. It's just grown within me. But then, and it's going to sound a little bit pious, but I went to the Congo with Oxfam, and I could not believe the extent of everything, the poverty, the how people were living, and the positivity of those people that I met was so immense that I was like, I have to go back and have that conversation for them. People go, you're a fashion photographer, but I'm like, I'm a portrait photographer that lives in a bubble in Kentish Town, and I had to go back and say, and I suddenly realised that actually I could have that. I could stand up for people and speak for them. And I think that was the point where I was like, actually, you can do great work on here and still earn money. It's not, you can balance it if you're prepared to do it. And also, I guess I'm saying is I'm challenging people to, why can't we all do it? It shouldn't even be a question in my head. It should just be, this is what we should all be doing. There's ways of doing these things which are appealing to the public, because everybody wants their 5 minutes now, and they want everybody else to have their 5 minutes. And I don't mean influencers. I mean, most people have a voice now. And not everyone's got a voice, because that would be ridiculous to say, but most people have a voice and they want to use it. And I think that that's more interesting. I mean, people go micro-influencer. I'm like, what, you mean real people? You know, okay, cool. So, you know, that's an example.
Thank you.
Yes,
Don't nick it, though. Sorry.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you. This is all really interesting. Back to Dove. So obviously at the time that was an amazing move in terms of real beauty, and I know you're saying that maybe there's not so much of that at the moment. Earlier in campaign this week, it was reported that eating disorders are on the rise. So although we have all of this body positivity, it's not filtering through into how people are feeling.
No, well, it's worse than that. Yeah,
it's worse.
It's worse than that. Yeah, it's not filtering through. It's filtering through. It's not having an effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And similarly with kind of diversity in advertising, I think it's improving, but also racial hatred is on the rise, as is attacks with disabilities. What would be, because there's a lot of brands in the room, do you have any advice going beyond just improving the diversity of creative, like what they can be doing to make actually a real impact?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, weirdly, when we were prepping for this, we talked about this a lot, and my my thoughts on it are quite extreme, but you know, the one thing that the self-harming and body dysmorphia and things like that, we've created this. Kind of our industry is in a bit of a bubble as well, because we have improved, dramatically improved, and I talk about that a lot. In terms of, you know, as an industry, people are going, but surely you're part of it. I'm like, no, well, if you actually look at the industry, they're doing a lot of really good stuff. But unfortunately, on a mobile phone, which is completely addictive and designed to be addictive, the social media platform that the kids are using is addictive and is designed to be addictive. And then the app that they're using to change their bodies, right? Because you can get an app now that's like a Photoshop, a very, very basic version of Photoshop. That's addictive as well. It's kind of gamified, which is even worse. So it's really, really difficult to talk about it in terms of, unless we start having these debates and discussions. Like if I was talking to, you know, a beauty brand now, I'd be saying, let's do something against this and let's talk about that, because the thing that I find really interesting is in sort of 1999 to 2003, 2004, if you Photoshop someone the wrong way, it was front page news in the media, right? Now, no one's talking about these 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. They're changing their faces, and then they're asking their parents, and I'm sure some of you are experiencing this, to have plastic surgery or Botox by the time they're 14, 15, 16. Now, to me, that's what we should be discussing on a daily level. So diversity should not even be a question. It shouldn't even be brought up by anybody ever. And then all of this other stuff, we need to tackle what the problem is. And the problem, it really truly is this constantly needing to be on all the time connected. It's really unhealthy on every single level for everybody. So I'd be getting brands to say, you know, one of my slogans that I came up with last year was fuck FOMO, you know, which is fear of missing out, get into JOMO, which is the joy of missing out, and encouraging people to be bored, encouraging people not to use your products, you know, encouraging people to actually have a life, you know, IRL, you know, stuff like that. I think that would be effective and actually might push for change, because, yeah, absolutely, it's a real problem.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you.
Thank you to Rankin. That's a wrap.